Okay, guys, in this video, we're going to talk about Slack Technologies, ticker symbol WORK work. This stock had been up a ton year to date, and as you can see here, take a look at the chart here. We just take a look at the percentage. The stock was up about 72%. So they just released their earnings report and the stock got crushed. So now we're sitting down at around a key support level of around, I'd say around $32 to $30 or so. Guys, I think this is one of the best work from home stocks. So obviously, as things are opening back up, more people are going to be going outside and returning to work. But there's a lot of long-term potential here. And they also signed a multi-year deal with Amazon to be the exclusive provider of Amazon's corporate communications and working with AWS. So if Amazon is choosing them, guys, I think that's a huge bit of confidence. So let's look a little bit more at that earnings report to figure out what's going on. Okay, here you are, guys. You can find this information on the website slackhq.com. So as you can see here, it says Slack announces record first quarter fiscal earnings 2021, total revenue of 201 million, up 50%, and they added 12,000 new paid customers. So guys, this company, if you guys haven't used Slack, it's basically a work collab tool that a lot of companies use. And I've heard a lot, I didn't really know much about this company, over the last years, but I'd say in the second half of 2019 and of course the first half of 2020, I keep hearing the word Slack, Slack, Slack. So I kind of signed up for it myself, and it's a really useful tool, guys, if you guys have teams. So for any of you guys out there that are small business, you have small business, or you're an internet marketer, or you have a team of people that are working for your company, this can be really useful. And a lot of people use Slack to communicate with their friends as well. I remember seeing a video by Sam Ovens, and he was talking about how he basically just uses Slack to communicate with his family and friends. So, there's a lot of benefits of using this tool. So let's go over the numbers. As you can see here, here's what the CEO said, Stuart Bufferfield. He said Q1 was a phenomenal quarter for Slack with addition of 12,000 net new paid customers and 50% revenue growth year over year. We believe the long-term impact the 3 months and counting of working from home will have on the way we work is a generational magnitude. This will continue to catalyze adoption for the new category of channel-based messaging platforms we created and for which we are still the only enterprise-grade offering. So guys, a lot of people were kind of disappointed with their numbers. They felt like uh, Zoom, ticker symbol ZM, had much better numbers, and they did. So Zoom is actually super, super profitable, and I talked about how I recommended that stock when it was around $152, and that stock ran up all the way to 2020. So I like Zoom as well, but I think there's a lot of potential for Slack, and they just don't seem to be as popular as Zoom. So that's one of the reasons why the market kind of reacted the way they did. So as you can see here, we take a look at some of the numbers. Here's some of the first quarter highlights. Over 122,000 paid customers. That's up. 963 paid customers with greater than $100,000 in ARR, annual recurring revenue. That's up. And over 41,000 paid customers using shared channels, and over 750,000 organizations on a free or paid subscription plan, up from 660,000 from last quarter. So guys, obviously a lot of these organizations, you got schools and things like that, they're using tools like Slack to communicate. So we should expect, obviously, probably a lot of those free plans are going to drop off as things open back up and people just really don't really need the collaboration tool to communicate. But what I'm looking at is overall total paid customers. So that's really what we want to focus on. Obviously, free subscriptions are nice, but they're not really adding much to the bottom line here. So 122,000 paid customers. So as Slack continues to grow and grow and grow, we're probably going to see this company hit 150,000, 200,000 paid subscribers, 250,000 paid subscribers, and obviously, we're looking for them to eventually hit 1 million, because I think that's when things are going to really take off. And I'm just kind of using the same trajectory that I did with Shopify. When Shopify hit over 100 paid subscribers using their e-commerce platform, that stock took off like a rocket. So I mentioned you guys I talked about Shopify when it was around $300 to $500, and that stock ran up all the way to 800 or so. So obviously it's going to take a lot longer, but Slack is definitely has the potential to grow into a massive company. So Now let's take a look at some of the financial numbers. So as you can see here, guys, revenue is up, but one of the things that people don't like about Slack is that they are not profitable right now. But I would say with a company like this, we just want them to continue to grow their numbers and to grow because, profitability for a lot of companies like this will come down the line. They just need people to use their software. So as you can see here, take a look at the balance sheet. They have over $1 billion in cash. So very well, capitalized, they should be fine. And the type of business they run, they're not burning through as much cash as a company like Uber is. So I wouldn't, there's not a lot of risks there. And as we can take a look here, let's take a look at total retained earnings because that's a really important metric that I like to look at. So of course they have been suffering losses and things like that, but I think focusing on this number is a bit short term in the thinking. Slack is definitely going to revolutionize the way people communicate because more and more people are going to be working from home. So I want to show you guys kind of the trends that they expect on how the work and home movement is going to be so key, not just in 2020 to 2025, but for the next 10 to 20 years. Okay, so let's check out some trends on remote work because I think this will help kind of conceptualize why I'm so excited about Slack. So as you can see, I'm on the website WRIKE.com. It says 17 surprising statistics about remote work. So let's go through some of them. So as you can see here, remote work has grown in popularity by 91% over the last 10 years. And of course, a lot of the work from home kind of surge is due to better connection speeds and just more and more people having fast internet. So, this wasn't possible with dial-up. So those days are long gone, and now where people have fiber internet, high-speed DSL, and with the upcoming of 5G networks, it's going to make working from home so much easier. So as you can see here, 73% of teams will have remote workers in their ranks by 2028. 62% of respondents in one survey said they work remotely at least some of the time, remaining only 38% work out of office at all times. And Arriga's forecast predicts that by 2030, the U.S. economy could see a boost of 4.5 trillion from flexible working. And then there's also some other things that they came up with. They said by 2030, the demand for remote work will increase by 30% as General Z fully enters the workforce. So guys, these are just some very interesting statistics. So of course, it's not all statistics. We want to actually see some partnerships being done. And I think one of the biggest is Slack partners with Amazon to take on Microsoft Teams. So it says Slack is switching to Amazon Chime for voice and video calling. And Amazon and Slack have basically been partnering. In case you guys didn't know, Amazon is using Slack's technology to basically communicate with all of their teams around the world. So that is a big vote of confidence. So the fact that Slack and Amazon are kind of hooking up is really good. As you can see, the article says Slack is partnering with Amazon, a multi-year agreement that means all Amazon employees will be able to start using Slack. The deal comes just as Slack faces increased competition from Microsoft Teams, and it will also see Slack migrate its voice and video call features over to Amazon's Chime alongside a broader adoption of Amazon's web services. So guys, that is huge because it says Amazon's rollout of Slack to all its employees is a big part of the deal thanks to an enterprise-wide agreement. It's not immediately clear how many of Amazon's 840,000 employees will start using Slack, although up until today, Slack's biggest customer has been IBM, which is rolling out Slack to its 350,000 employees. So guys, this is definitely what we want to see, and this article is posted on June 4th. So obviously, it's going to take a quarter or two until people in Amazon and all the other customers that have been added start using Slack, and we're going to constantly see more and more companies come over to Slack because if Amazon's using it, when it comes to a situation like that, a lot of companies can be like sheep and simply figure out, well, if Amazon's using it, it must be pretty good. And it is. I've used it myself personally. I think it's a great way to collaborate. But I don't want to just talk about, obviously, the new partnerships that are being done, and I don't want to just talk about trends. I want to show you guys those trailing returns because that helps the really see the numbers of how Slack stock is doing in comparison to the broader market. So as you can see here, guys, I'm on Morningstar.com. So all you have to do is type in the ticker symbol WORK and then head over to trailing returns. And as you can see here, obviously Slack, they haven't been IPOed for, even more than a year. And the year-to-date returns are already 44%, guys. So even though they had kind of a down day, with the not so great earnings, I think that this is still a hyper growth stock. And software stocks in general have been amazing, amazing investments. The overall broader market for software applications has been 25% year to date. And guys, if we take a look at there's this Fidelity fund that's been doing really, really well over the course of like the last 10 to 15 years because software stocks have just been crushing it. So I want to take a look, show you guys that index fund that I was mentioning. Okay, so here we are. This is just an example of how well software stocks have done over the long term. So you see this fund was incepted in 1985 and it's basically software and IT services portfolio, and it's done over 21% annual returns over the last 10 years. So guys, obviously you can invest in Slack, but if you're just a little bit more conservative and you want to just own all of these stocks together, like other stocks like Microsoft and things like that, you can just buy it as through Fidelity. It's the ticker symbol FSCSX. But guys, at the end of the day, this is still a hyper growth stock, and I like to buy stocks like these on dips. So if we take a look at the year-to-date chart, the trend is still going up, and I think there's a lot of value to buy Slack stock. Around $32. So we're not going to make these huge gains. Like if you guys are looking for stocks that are going to make 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% gains within a few days or a few weeks, you definitely want to check out some other stocks, stocks that can move up a lot faster. Right now, airline stocks, cruise stocks, things like that are red hot. But I think Slack has a lot of long-term potential. I think a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, you're going to wish you bought Slack because they are still going to be the number one enterprise level collaboration tool for companies. And when it's more and more employees work remote, they're going to be using Slack. So I love Zoom communications, but Zoom is a little bit different. Zoom is more video live conferencing, but Slack is basically built for companies. So I'm pretty sure that if Amazon's using it, more people are going to follow them and be using it in the future, and that's going to add a lot of value to shareholders. So for me, I'm going to be opening a position for Slack. I believe in working from home. This whole situation is just a preview of the future of society, and a lot of people have experienced better better quality of life from not having to commute so much to work. And there's so many other things that problems that can situations that can be avoided in the workplace. I mean, if you guys were familiar last year, it seemed like the Me Too campaign was huge, and sexual harassment and things like that, and even other problems in the workplace. And a lot of these problems can be alleviated with remote work teams. So I'm not saying that everyone everyone in America and throughout the world is going to be working remotely, but you're going to see that number increase substantially. And with 5G connections and faster mobile internet, it's just going to be so much easier to collab, through your cell phone and through your laptop than it is to sit in traffic and go to an office place where productivity is reduced. Some people, when they're working, they might have to travel 1, 2, 3 hours just to get to work. And if you guys aren't familiar, there's a crisis right now in San Francisco where people, are working in, Silicon Valley, but they can't even afford to live there. So if these people could work remotely, that would just solve these problems altogether. And Slack Technologies is one of the benefits for the change in this economy. So guys, it's only 2020. Remember, now we're still in the infancy of the work from home switch. Obviously, things are opening back up, but a lot of companies are going to be keeping a lot of their workers at home indefinitely. So only more and more people are going to be using Slack. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I gave you a comprehensive view of why I like Slack so much and why I think that although the gains might not be here right now, I think that this is kind of a fair value for Slack stock. And my prediction for Slack stock, I think it's going to hit around $50, $50 to $60 by the end of the year. And assuming it's going to maintain its 40% hyper growth, compounded annual growth returns, this could be a $100 to $200 stock in a year or two from now. I don't see anybody else that can really compete with Slack in terms of their comprehensive work collaboration tools and everything that they offer. They do a really, really good job with that, guys. So be sure to check them out a little bit more in depth. And I'm going to be updating you guys on Slack more because I think their Q2 numbers are going to be really, really excellent. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. So that's it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. So please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos on more work from home stocks like Slack, Zoom, ticker symbol ZM. Don't confuse it with Zoom Info and other stocks like that that can make you some money. So that's it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.